Hello and welcome to this week's weekly forecast reading for week commencing the 16th of May 2022. Now, a couple of people have asked me what my crystals are at the top here, so I'll quickly run through what we have here. This is a big hunk of labradorite. You see lovely reflections there. I also have some blue tiger's eye here. It's kind of got orange on the outside but blue on the inside. And I also have 3 of my angel crystals here as well. We've got selenite, angelite and celestite. So let's dive on into the reading. There will be timestamps in the description below as always, so that you can dip back in throughout the week and look at a specific day as you need to. So in front of us here we have the overview for this week, and the theme has come out very interestingly, all about love. But not necessarily romantic love. There's a real loving feeling coming through at the moment from our higher selves, from our spirit guides, from our angels, from the universe. There's a real reminder about love and what love really is. It's not about drama. It's not about, necessarily romantic love or relationships. It's much, much bigger than that. And love is all that's actually real in the universe. It's the only real reality that there really is. And it's that energy that we might call chi. I mean, you might also call it love, because that's not wrong. That's what actually helps us to be the architect of our life, the architect of the universe, and to co-create the world that we want to see. And we do very much work together on that. And I come in on the 3 here. 3 is the number of the blueprint. It's the divine design. It's the design before it comes into matter. So when you're manifesting, it becomes a 3 before it becomes a 4 into form. And the fact that we have a 3 of earth here, for me, that just says that this is about bringing things into matter through love. So for some people, this could be the birth of a child, so very, very literal, meaning. For others, it could be literally learning to manifest, but coming from this place of love, this place of genuine, higher spiritual love, this place of perfection, enlightenment, and higher wisdom, higher knowledge as well, I think, coming through very strongly this week. It's very much a week where we will be receiving guidance from the higher realms, because that's very, very important right now with everything going on in the world. It is very important that we listen to our guides, and I think they will very much be stepping forwards this week to help and guide us, because we are going through quite a difficult transition, and there are some very, very big changes coming up for all of us, and we do need to be ready for it. We need to be prepared. So they are just going to step in to just very gently love us and guide us and remind us that we are so very much loved by the universe, and that's the truth of reality. That's the truth of life. It all springs from this beautiful love energy, which is all that is. So on that rather gorgeous reminder, let's take a look at Monday. Okay, so Monday, here we go. We have number 50, birth, rebirth, the Ace of Autumn, and the 3 of water. Okay. Interesting, because there's quite a lot of emotion there on Monday still, but this is a big marker card. Birth, rebirth, yes, it's literally transformation. It's 50. 50 is when the transformation happens. It's halfway to 100. It's a very transformational number. Of course, it's one of the 10s, which makes it transformational, but it's got the 5 in there as well, the 5 of adventure, the 5 of the mind, the 5 of science, the 5 of exploring. It's almost kind of got a Sagittarius feel to it, this energy. Very interesting. So people could literally be looking at making a big change, looking or being forced to make a big change, because this may not be your choice. You may not want to make a big change in your life. But at the same time, there's this whole energy of fun that comes in with it, as energy of celebration that says, well, actually, we don't have to take things quite so seriously. Maybe this job or this relationship or this situation is ending or is unsustainable or isn't making you happy anymore. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing. If anything, there is a whole rebirthing of our energy going on this whole week. It's almost like a rearranging of our cells, our DNA. It's absolutely fascinating what they're showing me in the ether. Quite difficult to explain, but it's a recreation of self on Monday. That's what I want to say. I feel there will be, on some level, an opportunity to recreate the self, redefine your parameters, redefine who you are, and have fun with it. don't let anything hold you back. Don't let doubts hold you back, because there's a lot of magic around on Monday. Very playful energy with these lovely dolphins and the Three of Water here. So see what comes to you, but there may be an opportunity to literally rewrite your whole life on Monday. And I would encourage you, if you haven't revisited your vision board or your manifesting list or your goals or your plan, your 5-year plan, however you do it, revisit it on Monday, because you might be surprised what actually comes out of you. So let's move on to Tuesday now. Tuesday we have 28, the Water Fairy. We have the 5 of Autumn, and we have the 2 of Air. Okay, so Tuesday, all the feels, warn you now, take your hankies to work, keep those tissues to hand. All the feels on Tuesday. Yeah, a bit more of a challenging energy. You might feel a bit stumped on Tuesday, almost as if maybe you jumped the gun on Monday. That isn't actually the case, because energetically Monday was what Monday was, and Tuesday is what Tuesday is. So, you know, don't try and judge things on a day-by-day basis. You have to look at the much bigger picture, and that's what I'd remind you of on Tuesday. You know, try not to cry over spilt milk or worry that things will never happen just because it doesn't seem to be going that well for one day. It is an emotional day, it is a difficult day, but it's still transformational, coming in on this 28 here. So 28, 10, 1. So again, that's transformation, and it's reminding us that these feelings will not last forever. You know, they will change. You might be feeling a little bit emotional, a little bit low on Tuesday. And it feels like there may be some problems on the world stage as well. I'd say possibly with the financial markets, we may be seeing something not very positive there. Or we may be really wondering about whether we're doing the right thing, really questioning our choices, really questioning whether we're going in the right direction, and really feeling quite challenged about the whole thing. But it does very much feel like Tuesday's worries may be blown a little bit out of proportion. So even if the news is spouting some terrible bad news story, try not to take it all too seriously. Remember the card that we had on Monday, the 3 of Water. Go back to that fun energy, and that will actually carry you through, because it's not as bad as it looks. That's what I want to say about Tuesday. If it doesn't look good, it's not as bad as it looks. Keep going and keep going. Try not to judge everything on a day-by-day basis. Okay, so let's move on to Wednesday now. Wednesday we have the Queen, number 4, 17, the Star, and the Page of Earth. Okay, so coming in with some much more hopeful cards here. I think Wednesday we will start to feel a bit better again after a possible blip on Tuesday. I mean, you may not feel it, but Tuesday might be quite challenging for you or people around you, so be aware of that. 4 comes in with a much more stable energy on that number 4 with the Queen. She's very regal energy, very powerful, also very grounded on that grounded number 4. But there's the hopeful energy of the Star as well. And the reminder that if we want to achieve things, it's step by step and we have to follow through. Very feminine energy on Wednesday, very, very feminine energy indeed. And I think it's reminding us to capitalize on our feminine traits, regardless of gender or sex or sexuality. Capitalize on your feminine traits, because they are the ones that can help to keep us in balance sometimes. And I think that's really important, because we do forget that, you know, men in particular are told not to cry or not to show emotion. Well, actually that's okay, because your emotions will keep you in check if you allow yourself to express them. It will stop things getting out of hand. And there is that reminder there that we can go to the well. This is, I believe that's a picture of one of the wells in Glastonbury. Somebody can put that in the comments for me. I haven't been to this particular well, but it looks like the Chalice Well to me. And it's a reminder, you know, that there is this wellspring of emotion within each one of us, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because many good things can come from our emotions. And when we try to repress them or hold them back and think, oh no, I shouldn't feel like that, I shouldn't feel this about that. Well, why not? Because you do. So if you feel it, pay attention to that feeling, because it's trying to tell you something. It may be trying to tell you something very important. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, feeling lazy, like you can't bother to do something one day, but you'll do it again another day. You know, it's very much actually your plans, however crazy they might feel at the moment, might be the right thing to do. And you may actually be able to get there as well. Okay, so I would say, spiritual study highlighted for Wednesday. I would also say study of emotions if you're interested in psychology or psychiatry. I think there's an interesting conversation to be had on Wednesday about emotions, and that could be very interesting, but also quite an optimistic day. I would say the women are in charge on Wednesday. The girls are in charge. We're going to be taking the lead, and we're probably going to be feeling better than the guys on Wednesday as well, so bear that in mind too, because we swim in these emotional waters a lot more easily than they do. So try to be gentle with them if some of the guys are struggling a bit on Wednesday. So, moving on to Thursday now, we have number 39, Disruption, 9 of Autumn, and 0, the Dreamer. Okay. Now this is interesting because, again, this is quite obviously the disruption card is not a happy card to see. This is, events beyond your control, things happening out of the blue that may not be very pleasant necessarily. You may find yourself, going down a waterfall in a metaphorical barrel. So that's not the most helpful energy necessarily to come in on. But it does remind us with this 39 here that it's the end of this blueprint. 3 being the blueprint and 9 being the end of cycle and wisdom, the hermit. It feels very much like we're coming to the end of cycle here. And as we know, we're coming to the end of an age and a new one is beginning. And there is a bit of a crossover here, because as far as I'm concerned, the new age has already begun, but there is always that, that crossover period. It's like where a river meets the ocean. At what point does it become the ocean, and what point is it still the river? There's kind of this merging of waters, and that's what it feels like. We're in this crossover point at the moment, but we are very, very much changing the world right now. It's happening, and there may be some things happening on the world stage which seem very disruptive, very difficult, very out of balance, very out of control on Thursday. So I just want you to bear that in mind, because it isn't necessarily all that it seems. It's just that things get a little bit tumultuous at a change of ages. It just is what it is. And I want you to remember that, because the whole week's energy does feel like one of transformation and one of very, very big change, which is, I feel, why there's so much love coming through from the higher realms, from our higher selves at the moment, to remind us of who we really are and to help us to really vision this new world into existence so it can be what we want it to be. And we need to continue doing that. I love the 9 of Autumn because it's such a practical card, and it's about success by keeping going, success by following through, by doing what you're supposed to be doing. But it's also a very autonomous card as well. We don't have to be working to somebody else's schedule or to somebody else's plan. This is our individual plan. This is our fool, our dreamer, who comes in to dream the big dream that our ego mind tells us is ridiculous or that we can't have. But disruption is going to come in to change everything, so actually it might be easier than we think. And this is what I want to say. So any difficulties that we're going through as a species, as nations or regions at the moment, they are necessary. Lots of things have to break down at the end of an age so that the new one can start to be built. Lots of things have to change, and that is going to happen really quite suddenly now, because we're really coming to the end of the age of Pisces. It's really petering out fast, very, very fast indeed. Age of Aquarius really starting to get into gear now, and that's just going to cause these two energies to really clash, and we're going to see some very explosive results. It could be that something that you took for granted suddenly disappears. A corporation or a system of government or whatever it is suddenly ceases to exist, like that, really, really quickly, suddenly. And it will be a shock, and it could leave a bit of a mess behind. But if we're ready for it, if we've already dreamed our future, if we have already decided, manifested our future, it will not come as such a surprise, and we'll find ourselves very much in the driving seat. So that's what I want you to remember on Thursday. Keep yourself in the driving seat. Keep visualizing the future that you want. And believe me, you don't need to know what it's going to look like yet, because I've been told by my guides many times it's going to look so different to what we're used to that we can barely imagine it. Just focus on the feelings and the ideals that you want right now, because we are getting there. But it's going to be a strange, strange old day on Thursday. So let's take a look at Friday now. Friday's cards, we have number 3, the King. We have the 2 of Summer, and we have 10, the Wheel. Oops. Okay. So after our lovely feminine energy, we're coming in with some very masculine energy here. But it's a very creative, it's the creative masculine, and it's absolutely beautiful. Really wonderful. Talking about partnership as well. And I feel that on Friday, the theme is very much the masculine coming into partnership with the feminine. So this could be within yourself. This could be a sign that romantic relationships are going to become more harmonious, or relationships at work between men and women, or between people who are more male in their actions and thinkings, or more female in their actions and thinkings, are really going to come more into synergy now. And this is very important moving forwards, because we are redesigning the world at the moment, and there's this very transformational 10 energy that's still showing up. It's showing up all over the place at the moment, because there is so much change going on within each of us on a very, very deep soul level, also on the level of DNA as well. So you might be noticing strange changes in your body, or strange symptoms coming and going that no one can really explain. And I would say try to be okay with that, because we're having all of these massive energetic upgrades, changes that have been going on for the past few years. My guides are saying specifically since 2012 we've had some really, really big ones. So it does take its toll on the spiritual body. And for many of us, we're going through a period right now where our body is trying to catch up. And like I've said before, the body is the bit that vibrates at the slowest rate, and it is the bit that catches up last. So when our body gets there, that means we're done. That means we finished that particular upgrade or lesson, whatever it was. But very synergistic feeling on Friday. That's the word I get. It's a feeling of synergy. It's a feeling of cooperation. It's a feeling of very much being able to create and produce things together. It could be very much people coming together in a spirit of community, creating new communities, creating new systems of self-governance. It could be, I mean, we could even see a revolution in one country. You know, goodness knows what's going on in certain parts of the world right now. But it's that kind of feeling of, no, we're coming together now. We're doing it for the right reasons. This isn't for someone's ego or selfish will. This is actually people coming together for the right reasons to bring huge transformation, but bringing in also that protection for people. Because we have Archangel Michael here. Very, very protective archangel, comes in to sever ties with the past, which is interesting. He normally carries a sword, and there it is. But the king also has a sword as well. So there's a very protective energy on Friday. So I think we may feel very safe, very protected, very shielded. And if you do any psychic work, you may actually pick up on that. You may feel very protected, very sort of cosseted by your guides in the universe. And I want you to remember that no matter what's going on Friday, because the energy is absolutely crazy at the moment. You are going to be safe, and you are going to be okay. So enjoy Friday's energy, because it has some interesting potentials, and I think we'll be safe to experiment, safe to try new things on Friday. So let's move on to Saturday now. Saturday we have number 44, letting go. We have the King of Summer, and we have the Four of Fire. Interesting. We've got 3 4s here. That's very grounded energy if ever I saw it. Wow. 44 could be a forced letting go. Now, I know this is the letting go card, but with 44 on it as well, that's kind of a this is happening whether you like it or not kind of energy. It's like being slapped in the face with a wet kipper, like I said in the Elon Musk video recently. If you haven't seen that one, I'll link above. Oh, yes, it feels though we can't stop the change because the new foundation is being built. We've knocked the house down and the new foundation is being built energetically for the age of Aquarius. You know, the house is falling down around us. In fact, we're building the new one next door, and some people haven't realised that yet. They're still looking at the old one that's falling down and not looking at the new foundation that's actually being built already. Yeah, it's a good day for art. I want to say artists, architects. Also a good day for spiritual practice on Saturday. Very interesting feeling, very grounded, of course, with all of those 4s there. I think it's a good day to practically build things in your life, to review your finances perhaps, maybe even look at moving home or making changes to your home. But there may be some unexpected changes on Saturday, like I said, that you're not in control of, perhaps didn't choose and perhaps didn't necessarily want. But what I want to say is if you didn't let go of something already and you were supposed to, you may actually be forced to do it on Saturday, or you may get a glimmer of that actually becoming inevitable, something that you can no longer stop. That train is out of control now, the brakes are gone. So it is a hopeful sign to me, although it can sound ominous, because this energy is on the individual level, but also on the international, national, world level as well. So things that the world hasn't let go of yet, it's about to be made to let go of them in the most loving way, but it may be a little bit painful. It may be a little bit difficult. We may be seeing dictators being taken down. Like I said on Friday, there may be revolution or something in the air. I'd rather it wasn't revolution, because that tends to equate to going in a circle and coming back to the same point, whereas you really want to be going in a spiral, going up to the next point, not staying in the same paradigm. It's a breaking of paradigms that's happening at the moment, not staying in the same one. So it will be interesting to see where we go on Saturday. I also want to say on Saturday, for some reason they're talking to me about feet, so check your feet on Saturday. It could be to do with grounding, actually grounding yourself, getting your feet in the grass, on the earth, just to really ground yourself. And I think that's going to help you to feel calmer if there are some unexpected events going on around you. Get those bare feet out, show everyone your toes, and get them on the ground. So let's move on to Sunday now. Oops. Okay, Sunday we have the cat, number 18. 16, life experience, and the 2 of earth. Okay, so interesting cards. I mean, all of this week's cards have really been very, very interesting indeed. Very interesting messages coming through, and what I will say about this card is it has a very similar energy to disruption that we saw earlier on in the week. Again, those changes that we can't necessarily control. Or a bit too much going on at once, So it is reminding us on Sunday not to let us have too many people trying to sap our time, our energy, our attention. There will be a lot to think about on Sunday. There will be a lot to do. So I want to say maybe stay off social media, maybe stay away from the news, the TV, because I think it will just be too much. I think it's necessary because we're in this stage of destruction and rebuilding, which seems to be happening simultaneously as one age ends and another one begins. It's very confusing. It's like living on a building site, metaphorically speaking, which is actually quite hazardous as well, because you have to duck when a crane goes around, and not step in the wet cement. It's a very challenging time. So I would say, try and take some time for yourself, take a leaf out of the cat's book. And as well, I want to talk about the occult on Sunday. I want to talk about spiritual practice, but specifically magical practice, which I think will be highlighted on Sunday. I think that will be a good day for that, coming into some very interesting energy. And as well, on Sunday, it's going to be a 22 day. It's the 22nd of May. So again, there's more twos. That's, I think, why it's going to be such an emotional day. I'm always talking about how emotional number 2 is and what a pain it can be, and we've got another 2 there. It's a 22 day. Also a very sacred energy. It's the feet of the goddess, but sacred doesn't necessarily mean pleasant. Sacred doesn't necessarily mean nice. Sacred doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a good day. A sacred experience may be horrible. Okay. It feels almost like watching Rome burn around you, so you may need to take a day off from it, and just cocoon yourself, have a nice bubble bath with essential oils or something, or sit in the garden, spend time with your pets. Again, do the grounding like Saturday has been asking us to ground. I'd want to say Sunday, kind of take some time out, take some time away from the world. And just try to consider your options, if necessary, if there are things that you have to think about, decisions that you have to make. Try not to take life too seriously, and try to remember that we actually create our own reality. Nothing here is really real. We create our own reality, and try to be a little bit more lighthearted about it if at all possible. Okay. It is a tricky energy, so I don't mean that lightly, but yeah, don't sweat the small stuff, and try not to take life so seriously, because none of us gets out alive. Okay, so I do have one last card for this week, which is actually from a different deck this week. This is from the Messenger Oracle. We have 33, respect your boundaries. Again, repeating what the cat's just been telling us. This is our second card about boundaries this week. So clearly there's a theme going on here. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Very important. Because as we are at this change of age, change of system, change of everything. This is all change, please. All change. We've reached the station. All change. This is the terminus here of the age of Pisces. I think the risk here very much is that other people have ideas and agendas that they want us to put our energy into. And that's not what we're supposed to do. That's not what is destined for most of us to do. I mean, there are some people who will just go along with other people's plans, and that may be their soul's path. But it's not a great way to live. It's not a happy way to live. It's certainly not an autonomous, independent, or grown-up way to live. To be honest, it's emotional immaturity if we're just going along with other people's plans and other people's ideas instead of following our own heart and listening to that, listening to our higher consciousness, to our inner voice of wisdom, and connecting to that real part of us that isn't just the monkey mind repeating and regurgitating things it heard at school or on the television or some politician say. You know, I want to say, think for yourself. That's the message this week. Think for yourself and act for yourself as well. And this card is beautiful, coming in on the Sacred 33, which is the Christ consciousness, which is what we are trying to bring down to earth right now. And we are rebirthing a new age. We're rebirthing the Christ consciousness. You can call it the second coming if you like. I don't believe the second coming is a person. I believe the second coming is a consciousness where we all rise potentially to that higher, more loving, ascended, wise consciousness of the Christ consciousness. And we must do it with wisdom as well. It's not just all this airy-fairy, oh, look at me, I'm holding a crystal and I meditate and do yoga twice a week, I'm enlightened. No, there are some very practical aspects to that as well. You know, we must hold our boundaries. We must respect other people's spiritual path as well. It's not all about love and light. We must integrate the shadow as well. There is so much work to do here. So much work. And I think as well, it's easy to get disheartened when you see people that you care about who seem to be going in the wrong direction. And I say wrong in inverted commas there because there is no wrong decision. And this keeps coming through so strongly in readings to me when I'm talking to clients, because they ask me a question, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Which is the right answer? Which is the wrong answer? And my guides keep saying this, and they keep saying this. And the answer now is, what do you want to do? There's no wrong answer. There's only a choice. There's just a decision to make. So if people choose to go in the direction of the old energy and try and hold on to that, try and still follow the dark masters who are still trying to lead them astray, well, that's their soul's path. If that's what they're choosing to do, they have the right to do that. And we have no right to force them to do anything else. We must respect their boundaries as we would want them to respect ours too. Very, very important, but loving message coming through with this beautiful pink and green dragon. These are very loving colours, the colours of the heart and the higher heart chakra, which is the seat of higher compassion and empathy for other people, but also reminding us to speak our truth when we need to, with this lovely turquoise blue of the throat chakra here as well. Speak your truth, but do it with love and compassion, and remember that your path is not the same as everyone else's. So I do hope you've enjoyed this reading. Please do take a moment to have a look at my new Patreon, where I will be doing a romance reading, numerology reading, guided meditations, lots of other good stuff there. So please do have a look at that. Please remember to like this video, share with a friend, leave me one of your lovely comments if there's something you would like to share with us, and I will see you all again soon.